Good on me. Thank you. Now I need to share my screen. Share screen one. Okay. Sorry about that. So I will try to record, but as you just saw, sometimes, like today, I had too much stuff going on. I forgot about it. And I will try to post them to YouTube. And just like in any of my classes, if you miss a lot of classes, it requires you to show extra dedication, time management, and work ethic to learn the content and keep from falling behind. Okay, so now let's go back in here and see if I can keep moving. Okay, so let's talk about these first 7 weeks here. We're going to learn how to use a new software. It's called Revit. Revit is BIM, Building Information Modeling. It's where the items have intelligence. So like on AutoCAD, which you just learned, everything's a line. All it knows it's a line and what layer it's on. If the line's in a door, it doesn't know it's a door unless you put it in a door layer, and then but it still doesn't know it's a door. Because you can draw a door line out in the middle of your yard, right? Because it doesn't know it's actually a door. Revit, the doors know they are doors, and they will only let you put them in walls. So you don't need a door out in the middle of your yard. You don't need a door sitting here on the floor. You need a door to get through a wall. So Revit's got enough intelligence. It knows that door is a door, and it has to go into a wall. So it will not let you put a door anywhere except into a wall. And it actually has the ability to have information coming along with it. So let's just say the reason the state of Wisconsin requires all their projects in Revit, once they have that Revit model, they could take all the owner's manuals for the keyless entrance system, the spare parts for the doorknob, the spare parts for the handles, and they can attach all that owner's manual into that building information model with the door. So if you have a problem with the door and the state owns the building, they can click on that and they can say, oh, that's got this hardware from Schlage, and this is where I get a spare parts for that, because that's all built inside that model they're making. Okay. The other thing Revit does that makes it great for especially bigger projects is, imagine you're doing this. This building was done in AutoCAD. Okay, imagine you're doing this building in AutoCAD. And I've got 4 floors. I could give you a floor, you a floor, you a floor, and you a floor, and you could all work at it on the same time. I could have you doing the electrical on one floor, you doing the plumbing on a different floor, you doing the HVAC on a different floor, right? Because you've just got a drawing. But then somebody has to figure out that my plumbing pipe isn't going to go through my HVAC duct. And it's hard to do because it's all just 2D drawings that a bunch of different people are doing. So there was all of these problems. You'd come out on a site and everybody's yelling and swearing at each other, dropping the F-bomb. It's like, I was here first and I ran my effing plumbing pipe, and now you're telling me I got to move it because you got to run a duct through there. And so you had all this coordination problems. Revit allows you to coordinate all this stuff because you're only working on one model. You're doing your plumbing, heating pipes, electrical, structural, architectural, all's in one model. Well, that's all great. And you can do what's called class detection. You press a button and it will fly you through the model and it'll show you the plumbing pipes going through the duct before anybody even sets out on site. So you don't ever have to move things, right? Because everything's all can get figured out in this virtual world. Now, the problem is we've got one model. How do I get more than one person working on one model? And what the genius of Revit, which I couldn't believe, I still don't know how it's possible, is they let you share parts of that one model and have like 50 different people working on this one building model at the same time. So it's like checking a book out of a library. So like if I'm working on this room, it checks that room out for me to work on. And if you want to work on that room while I've got it checked out, it will send me a little notification saying, Audra wants to work on this room. Do you want to release it to her or send her a message? And I'd say, Audra, I'm doing something. When I'm done, I'll release it. And then Audra can check it out and work on it for what she's working on. Yes. So they allow multiple people to check out parts of these models and work on that one building model at the same time. And it even works like I can be in California and you can be in Puerto Rico, and we've got this model on the cloud on the internet, and we're all working on this same building model from all over the world. Okay, so that's the amazing thing about Revit, and that's why the state of Wisconsin, once building projects get above a certain dollar amount, I think it's 500,000, they have to be done in Revit. So when I was working at my last job, we were doing everything in AutoCAD. If we wanted to do big state of Wisconsin jobs, the whole company had to learn how to use Revit because otherwise we weren't going to get those projects. So Revit's the wave of the future. Is AutoCAD ever going to go away? Not for a long time, because all these buildings around here, they were probably all done in AutoCAD and they've got existing AutoCAD buildings. Drawings. So typically once a building's drawn in AutoCAD, most of the time you end up just doing the remodelings and the fixing it up in AutoCAD as well. Does that all make sense? Okay. So you're going to focus on Revit until you graduate. It uses Enscape similar to SketchUp. These first 7 weeks, I've allowed like 5 weeks to go through the book. And then we do a week on designing kitchens. This is just ballpark. You can see the schedule online. And then we finish up with designing bathrooms first and then kitchens, because those are the two most complicated areas in a house. And so we learn how to do that before we move into that second studio. So this studio here is not just going through this book, it's learning how to design baths and kitchens. Okay, so this is the house. We'll talk about the book later. We have a book, and when you go through that book, you end up with this house. So my thought is, if I'm running a restaurant, I've got to eat the food that we're making. So I'm telling you to use this book. So I went through and I did this book. Okay, and this is the house that I came up with at the end of the book. And your house is going to look very similar to this. And when I did that book, the rule of thumb for instructors is your students are going to take 2 to 3 times as long to do something as you do, because you're doing this all your life and you know how to use the software. So what I did is I wrote down exactly how many minutes it took me. Now, I wasn't being distracted, right? I was sitting there in my home office with no distractions doing it. But what I've given you is 3 times what it took me to do this project, okay? So some of you are going to get done earlier than the time I've allotted, and some of you are going to get done in about the time I've allotted, and some of you are going to have to work outside of class to get done in the time allotted. There's always a bell-shaped curve on how fast you learn these things. Does that all make sense? So then this is the inside of that house that the book has you do. So we are going to do a kitchen in that house, and so you do this. I looked at dozens of books before I decided to pick this one. It's not perfect, but it's the best I found. And then the parts that I found were a problem, I did cheat notes on it. Okay, so while I'm doing this, and every year, if somebody comes up with problems on the book, I put it in my cheat notes. So I'm going to hand out my cheat notes to you when we get to the book. Okay, so this is the 5th year we switched over to using Revit. We switched because we were using something called SoftPlan, which is a BIM that's just set up for houses. Revit, you can do houses, but you can also do like the World Trade Center. You can do an airport in Revit. You can do any sort of building in Revit. It's much more broad range of things. Tim uses Revit just to do houses. But if you go down to Chicago and you do skyscrapers, they're also using Revit. SoftPlan was just for houses. So Revit has all kinds of books, all kinds of tutorials on the YouTube, and SoftPlan has almost nothing. So when we were teaching both Revit and SoftPlan, 50 to 80% of our students got jobs primarily using Revit, and only 0 to 20% got jobs using SoftPlan. Now, the other thing that made us make the change was SoftPlan required us to buy a license, and it required you to buy a license if you wanted to have it on your home computer. You can get this software for free as a student. They give you a 1-year license and it's renewable. And this is like $3,000 software. So Revit gives it to us for free and it gives it to you for free. So you can all get this stuff and this Revit installed on your home computer. Let's keep rolling here. Just want a little chart here. Revit is the industry standard worldwide. You can go get a job in Australia using Revit. SoftPlan's much smaller user base, primarily in the US and Canada. There's very few books about SoftPlan. And when you're doing really complicated software like this, it's almost impossible to teach without a book, okay? So the one advantage SoftPlan has, since it's only focused on houses, it loads everything in that you could ever need. So like SoftPlan has the actual craft-made cabinet catalog with all the different catalog styles and the model numbers right from craft-made. It's got that all loaded in. It's got the Sherwin-Williams paint catalog loaded in. So when you put a color in, it's an actual color that you can get. Okay, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Is this the book?
I'm going to get to that. No, it's not. I'm giving you a free book because they screwed it up and they gave you the wrong book. That's the book you're going to use in the summer. So it's not like a wasted book.
Okay.
It's the summer book. Okay. So you can't have a residential class and give students a commercial textbook, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else in the college didn't make that connection and they changed the textbook and nobody told me. Okay. So you can't teach a residential class with a commercial textbook. That's your summer textbook. Okay. Since the college made the mistake, I talked to my boss, the guy you just saw, Mike Pellinger. He understands how important this is because he used to do my job. And I said, we're going to provide the students with a free copy of the textbook because it's not financial aidable if we add it at the last minute, right? So we're going to just give you this textbook for free. Yeah. So your textbook budget went down overall, but you just bought the summer book because they screwed it up and they put it for this class. Okay. Excellent question. Now, those of you that have Macs at home, you cannot get Revit and install it on a Macintosh. It will not run on the Mac operating system. You either have to get your Mac operating system so it'll dual boot into Windows, or you need to use remote desktop and come into our PCs. This software is not available on the Mac. Talk about the renderings. Now, everything you saw up at Capstone was done in Revit with Enscape. So it can do really good renderings with Enscape. Right out of the box Revit, it's like, so-so. So these are examples. This is a previous capstone from a couple years ago using Revit and Enscape. This is the outside. So you can see you can do big commercial projects on Revit. You can also do houses on Revit. I talked about this a little bit. It's very unlikely one of our houses will get built, but it's not impossible. They told us in other years that, hey, we really like this plan. We think we're going to build it. Okay. So now they do a lot of houses. Most of them are prefab. So they need to work with other designers rather than wait for us to come up with a design. But they do keep our designs and they use them for ideas and to show potential clients. Now, picture on the left, as a club activity that doesn't cost us any money, what we've done in the past is we volunteered to do like a half-day workday on a Habitat job site. So on this one, we ended up pouring concrete and for footings. And on the one we did last year, we ended up painting, putting window trim on, and replacing some broken vinyl siding. So if that's something you guys are interested in when Habitat comes in and talks to it, we don't do it in the middle of winter like now, but like towards the end of the second 7 weeks, we'll come up with a work day. Okay. Like on the right, again, that's the same picture that's on that board. That's the last student house that was built up in Rockland. So this is our crew that we used pouring footings. And it's interesting, the guy standing next to me here, he actually was a concrete construction worker that came back to school to learn the architectural design. Now, I don't know what he's doing, but it was great because he could actually, the Habitat got us started with this, but then somehow something happened and our Habitat supervisor had to leave and nobody else knew how to actually pour footings and where the truck should back in. And this guy just took over and he's like, okay, I pull the truck in here. Well, because they didn't have a pumper truck available, so they had to be a chute. And so we had to use wheelbarrows to dump it into the footings. But we had a great time. And like the students were like, I'm going to build my own house. I know how to do footings. How hard can the rest of it be? I'm going to build my own house. This is awesome. So we had a good time doing that. So I hope you enjoy your time here. That's kind of a little kind of give you an overview of what we're doing here. Any questions? Okay, so now I'm gonna move on. Now, we start at 1:15. I filled a lot of time. I understand we might need to have a break. So let's just take a 7-minute break if you don't mind, trying to catch some time up till 2:30, and then I'll get started on moving us forward with what we're gonna be doing. Okay, so we're gonna take a break till 2:30. We'll remove desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll print out the instructions.
Okay. To ask you about the book, was I supposed to already buy a book to start the homework today?
You were,
Or this-
like I said, they told you to buy the wrong book,
Okay,
so I'm giving you a book.
you're gonna get
The
this.
school's gonna give you a book for free because they screwed it up.
But it looks like there's homework due tomorrow,
Yes,
so,
and it's not gonna be due tomorrow because I didn't think I was gonna have to waste an hour's worth of time in the beginning getting all my technologies figured
Okay,
out. Does that make
gotcha.
sense?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be adjusting those due dates.
Okay.
I'm not gonna talk the whole class. I am gonna give you time to work on it.
going out?
I did, yes.
Billy, do you have your Mac with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're able to stay after class, what you do is you log out to your computer. Follow these directions. It will, we'll see if it works. Doesn't work. Try it yourself. Yeah, and before we get back to the whole rest. Always gonna go there. And you need to be consistent. So you had laptops, right? What do you do about it? Okay. Well, I know I gave you assignment. I'm gonna have to adjust or be a little flexible on my due dates until we can catch up, because I didn't think I was gonna spend an hour killing time while was getting the computer straightened out here. So as you can see, I'm kind of mellow about how long it takes you to go through this book. Because some people learn faster from books than others do. Some people are just naturally, it's not a speed race. I want you to learn this because it's like building the foundation for the whole rest of your career potentially. So we don't just want to blast through the book and not learn all the stuff that the book can teach us. Right. Okay, so see, do I got everybody back in here pretty much? Let's go ahead. Okay, so you've all taken classes with me, so I'm not gonna go through my, I'm not gonna go through my whole syllabi. We're gonna save some time with that. Um, what I'm going to do is at least talk about the textbook. First off, there is a quiz on read the syllabus, just like there is on all my other classes, so you know the deal on that. Let me pull my syllabi up here. It's bigger. So just to close the door on textbooks. Somebody else is teaching this class to a different program. The different program wanted to use the book we use in summer, they wanted that to be the first book. So that's a commercial book that you're gonna use in the summer. So that book you bought is not wasted. I couldn't add another book on at the last minute because if financial aid won't pay for something that's added in at the last minute, there's a certain deadline. So I talked to my boss and he gave me permission to spend taxpayer dollars to give you a book. Okay, so we bought the right book and we're giving it to you. It's yours to keep. Now, if you decide to drop out or you don't like the book and you don't want to keep it, I'd be glad to get it back. Because then if somebody else has got some financial difficulties or they forget their book, I'll have a copy. But this is your book provided by the taxpayers because Western screwed something up. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of. Keep that book that you already bought on the book, the design integration. You're going to use that book with Tim. It is two different books because you bought your summer textbook. They look the same. They're by the same publisher and the same author. So Tim and I decided to use the same author because first off, the books are good, and second off, you don't have to look at somebody else's style. I gave you one. You got your. Yeah. I think I gave you the same book. One of the students. So enjoy your free textbook. So when I went through and I did the textbook, there were certain things that frustrated me. There were certain things that I didn't think we needed to learn now because they just confused a beginner. Some of the things even confused me and I'm like, I don't want to learn them. I don't want to teach them. It's too much. So I did what's called Pete's notes on the textbook. Well, this is up on Blackboard if you want an electronic copy, but I went ahead and printed one out. So what I want you to do is as you're going through the book, check the things on each note. Like for example, I have you skip large chunks of the first chapter. Because it's like talks you how to use the Autodesk Cloud, which is kind of like their version of OneDrive. We don't need to learn that. We're all going to be using OneDrive. Yeah, Blackboard, got it. And there's also some links to tutorial videos right on here. So like if I got stuck with something, I did a tutorial video on it. And there's a link on this document. So you can get the link off of the electronic version, but I like having the printed out version just because you can make your own notes in here. So this is kind of like my cheat notes when I went through the book. So if you look on the Pete's notes here, if you look on the bold thing, exercise 1.7, I have you skip 5 pages because I don't need you to learn the Autodesk Cloud. I just used OneDrive. So there are certain parts of this book I tell you to skip because it just doesn't make any sense at all to have to learn them when you first learn them. Okay. So talked about Pete's notes. So I'm going to show you on my Blackboard site here, just a couple things on here. I'm going to show you the link to how to get it Revit for free on your home computer. Did any of you get AutoCAD for free on your home computer? Okay, so if you did that, that same site and that same procedure will let you get Revit for free on your home computer. If you didn't get so let me get into my Blackboard site here. Oh, and all my links went away, so just give me a second. Western. You probably went through the same thing. All your links went away too, right? And you notice they changed the way Blackboard looks over break? Yeah.
Seems they changed some of the functions.
Really? I just noticed that among all the other things I've been trying to keep track of. Okay, so there's my Blackboard. Let's log in. I've got to do my 48 character new password. So let's see if I can remember that.
You might want to put your email there.
Ooh, shit, I'm showing you this. Luckily, I didn't show you all 48 characters. So let's get this over to the side here.
So if we already downloaded Revit last term, are we gonna have issues by the end of the year or that end of that year lease?
Yeah, every year you have to just update it.
Okay, so we should be
You have to check when your license expires.
Okay,
So like if I downloaded it 8 months ago, it'll run out in 4 months.
But won't it be the 25 version and you
No,
need the 26?
AutoCAD is different. Those licenses run independent.
right, but like last term with Tim's class, I also downloaded Revit.
Then you're gonna have to keep an eye on, a year from when you downloaded it, you need to send them, you have to go something on their website to update your license.
Okay.
Now, you have Revit 2025 at home?
Let's go check that.
So with AutoCAD, it doesn't matter what year you use. Cause like you can open an AutoCAD from 20 years ago and it'll open right up. Revit, in order to force you to buy the software every year, you can't open up a 2026 file in 2025. You can't go backwards. You can always go forwards, but you can't go backwards. So if you have 2024 or 2025 at home and you do your whole project and you try to come in here and work on it, it won't let you open it up. No, it will let you open it up. Because it'll upgrade it to 2026, but you won't be able to ever go back home again because the 2024 won't open up 2026. You can only go forward and never backwards. So ideally, if you have Revit at home and it's not 2026, you should get 2026 at home. Okay. So now let's see if I can actually log in here without showing you my password, which I'm starting to remember. Luckily, it's got like 28 other characters. And hopefully I can do a Vulcan mind melt on you and get you to forget what you saw. Okay, so here we go. We're on BIM Residential 1. And if you go to assignments, we already are done with Unit 1 because it was just basically that PowerPoint I showed you. Now we're on residential design using Revit, which is the textbook. There's the Pete's Notes electronic file if you want to look at the links to the videos that relate to this. If you want to get a student license for Revit 2026 on your home computer, there's a link. If you don't already have an Autodesk account, you should use your Western Student email when you make an account because that's how it knows you're a student and it'll give it to you for free. But if you click on this link here, let's see if it actually works. Yes, so here you would come in and you would select student and it's Revit 2026, same procedure that you used for AutoCAD. Okay, make sure you get 2026. Okay, so that's that. If you have or you cannot get it, it won't work on your home computer for whatever reason. Either you have a Mac or something else. Since you're the only students that are using this, apart from Friday mornings when I teach SketchUp, we can set you up with remote desktop and have your remote desktop into the machine that you're using, and then you're just using that machine's Revit. Okay. So like I said before, you can never go backwards. So once you start a file in 2026, you need 2026 to open it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, what are we doing on our break? We just took a break. So yeah, let's just open up Revit, make sure it works because sometimes the install doesn't work. So I'd like you to go find Revit 2026 on your computer and open it up. And I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to have you follow along, but before we do that, I got to show you which file I'm using. So let's see if this link still works here. This is also on my YouTube channel, but I don't have the link up on my Chrome, my YouTube channel. So let me just open this up and make sure it still works. Okay, so I think I might have problems with my sound after they mess with the computer here. So let's see if I can get that to work. But before we do that, we're going to make sure that when we download a Revit file off of Blackboard, that this computer is set up to recognize it. So I'm going to do this along with you. So if you don't mind just following along with me on this part here. There's an assignment 2.0 where the book, so this book that I just gave you has a code on the inside that lets you download a bunch of stuff like tutorial videos and sample files. Anything you need, I've already downloaded and I put them up on Blackboard to share with you, okay? There might be a few things on there that I didn't download, but anything you need for the class has already been downloaded. One of the things I downloaded are the 2 sample files. So I'd like you to go to Unit 2 I'm under assignments. I'm under Unit 2 residential design with Revit. And I'm under assignment 2.0 getting started with Revit. And there are 2 files here that I would like you to download and see if Revit will open them up. So I'm going to try to do it the way I would do it here, and you can just follow along with me. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to hit download original file. So we're going to download the church building first. So just download that church building. That's the only one we're going to start out with this video. And this is just something that Revit gives you as like a default file. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the folder. I've got my downloads up here. I'm going to go to the folder. And if yours shows up and it's got a little picture of Revit with like this little icon with RVT on it, then it means that if I click on that, it will open it up in Revit. If this thing looks blank, like just a blank white thing without the little RVT in, that means that your computer doesn't know that that's a Revit file and it doesn't know what software to use. Let's have anybody have a blank white little picture by church building and not the RVT. This is our lucky day, because normally it's like the whole class. So now all we need to do is double click on this sucker and it should open up. Let's just go ahead and double click on it. Now, the first time you open Revit, it's going to take you a little while to get its head around things. So I don't know. I already had Revit open because I was just making sure it worked. Let's see what happens. So just wait a while. So if you say, hey, it's not opening, I need to double click it again, it'll open it like 10 different times as you keep double clicking it. So let's try one more time. We're going to double click on it. And now this is your splash screen. So this means that it's opening it. Now, the only question is, did I open it twice or not? I guess I am not going to opt into giving them all my information. I think it's just going to slow me down here. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm not going to click those boxes. So do we want to know if Enscape works or not? No, we don't, because we're not going to use it for a while. So we're just going to close that and we're going to hit don't show again. Because I don't want to see this. We're not going to use this. Wait till the end when we're doing our kitchen and bath layouts. So we're going to hit close here. I can minimize this. And so this is a very simple little church plan that they did in Revit. Now I've done a video that walks you through some little tips and tricks that I thought would be helpful to you as we just start playing around. So has everybody got this Revit up on their screen? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get mine off of here and I'm going to show you that video and hopefully I'm going to get the sound to work. So let's see if I can get my sound figured out here. So I need to go into Zoom and I need to go into audio. And that's right. And the speaker, they screwed it up when they changed. So let's try this. And let's try to play the video. Well, first off, let's see how my sound is set up here. Okay, so they've got this set at 100, which would probably give all of us deafness if I didn't do it. Okay, so now let's try this. Okay. We're going to try to find another way to get the sound out of here. Just give me a second. Speaker. Oh, that was wrong. Try this. I'm just gonna get out of Zoom. See if I can get this to work without Zoom. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Yeah, I'm gonna mute this for a second.